intro, Matty G. So we're just gonna run live by saying hi, everybody. We're live.
Hey, hey.
There we go. I was like, oh, I'm alone on this one. Welcome everybody to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. I am here, of course, with my co-host Matty G. How you doing today, buddy?
Not too bad. How are you?
Doing well. I can't complain. You know, it's the weather is into that part of the season that I love the most, being a Canadian resident, where of course everything is colorful. It's cool enough to wear jeans and a sweatshirt in the day if you want, and it's still jacket weather kind of in the evening. So this is my time of year.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain all week, but it's actually, you're right. It's a good temperature. I like sweater weather. So
yeah, exactly. So
did you hear this thing this year about how we're supposed to let all the leaves stay on the ground? It's supposed to be healthy for the grass and the soil.
It technically is, right? I mean, and I just do that generally because I'm lazy and I don't mow everything up.
Happy accident.
I'm mulching.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. I said, well, it's just going to biodegrade and become compost anyways, which means my grass is going to look fantastic. So
there you go.
It has probably yet to happen, but yeah, you know, once you had a dog, that got kind of your lawn is destroyed anyways. So. But I love her, and it is green for probably about 3 or 4 weeks before things get a little serious, and then the dog runs out and starts digging everything up. So, but that is a happy accident. I'm glad that people are now saying that it's okay for me to do what I do, and my neighbors, when they do stare at me for not raking my lawn like everybody else, I can say, well, this is the new thing.
Is your grass really green in the summer?
Sometimes, yeah. So, yep, right up until that time where, and I know you're probably going to laugh at this one, Sharon, but when it hits about 30 degrees and it starts burning up our grass, which of course is probably sitting somewhere around maybe 45 degrees of Fahrenheit in America. So it's
what?
Yeah,
no, 30's like in the 90s.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
What?
Yeah, I know the conversion rate is always really funny, and of course it leaves you feeling like we're super cold right up until it hits zero or so. No, is it absolute zero when our temperatures cross and they actually meet the exact same period? In which case, that's certain death for everybody. So
yes.
Yeah. So. Right on. So it looks like we have some new viewers. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the show. Oh, we have comments already. Who we've got today? We got Ronnie Lee. Hey, there we go, Sharon. So we've got some.
Hi, Ronnie.
Popped up to see.
Did you officially introduce me? Do people even know who I am?
No, so that's where we're going to jump into next. I noticed we have all these wonderful comments, everybody, but since everybody's beat us to the punch, everybody, we do have, of course, Sharon Lentz from Dark Shadows joining us today, and we're continuing to celebrate Faptober, celebrating, of course, Halloween spirit and horror movies over the month of October. And I'm hopefully we got to everybody. I will, of course, if you'd like to post up and say hi to Sharon or ask questions, I will try our best to make sure we get those out there. But in the meantime, Matty G, how about we jump into our news?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So first article here, man found living in Nevada grocery store, arrested after falling through the ceiling. So
this sounds like a bad movie I saw once.
Right.
A man who had been living in the rafters of a Nevada grocery store was arrested on, this was the early October, so I guess finally it's broken news.
Yep.
After employees noticed he had fallen through the ceiling, Matthew Hamar, 35, was arrested and charged with burglary and obstructing a police officer after night shift employees at Rallies in Fernley found him while the store was closed. Employees called authorities, who surrounded the store. After a while, they got him to come outside, and he was arrested for commercial burglary. Authorities said Hammer had been living in and above the deli for at least a couple of days and had been stealing food from the store. They said they found some of his property also in the rafters. After falling through the ceiling tile and being spotted, Hammer squeezed back up into the crawl space he'd been living in. This is the kicker. So they sent a police dog.
Yeah.
They sent a police dog up there to get him, but it also fell into a shaft and got stuck. So they both had to retrieve the perp and the dog from the ceiling.
I kind of
So.
hoped, that there would be a nice twist to this story if he actually just kept feeding the dog while it was up there and stuck. So,
And it's my
That's
dog
what
now.
actually what I thought you were going to say is the dog stayed up there and was eating lunch meat.
yeah.
Tell me again, what state are we talking about?
This was Nevada.
Yeah.
In Nevada.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I would normally say only in Florida, but no, this one was good old Nevada. So really, really, really funny, actually. Every once in a while, you never know exactly what people are going to do. And it kind of reminds me of the member of the meth addict that was living in the above a grocery store or Walmart once, actually. And
yeah.
And they had to basically flush her out as well, which was really funny. So
I remember. Actually, I remember that episode when we talked about that.
Yes, yeah, that was really so we have a question already for Sharon. That's wonderful. Rick Gardner asks, tell us, Sharon, what was it like being a young actress working with such actors as Jonathan Freed, and did you ever have any scenes with Kate Jackson?
Okay, first of all, hi, Rick. Thanks for the question. And I don't want to take over the show because what these guys don't know and my friends on Facebook do know is once I start talking, it's kind of hard to get me to stop. But I will give you what I like to call the Reader's Digest version of the answer for that question. I was a lucky little girl to even be a part of Dark Shadows. It was a happy accident. I was doing other auditions at the time and commercials and whatnot. And I was just one more audition and happened to be Dark Shadows. Little did I know at the time that that was going to become such an iconic show. Did I have fun? Oh my goodness. Yes. What 10-year-old little girl doesn't love getting dressed up in long dresses and wearing slippers and running around and being silly? Mm-hmm. I had a job to do and I did that job, but I wouldn't for 1 second tell you that I didn't have a great time doing it. And all of the adults that were around me, including Jonathan Frid, were, I don't want to gush. They were so nice to me. They really were. You often hear stories about child actors and actresses who were treated like a piece of furniture, like who wants this kid around, that kind of thing. None of the adult actors or actresses on the show ever made me feel that way. We were both there to do a job, and we both did that job. And as long as I did what I was supposed to do, and I said what I was supposed to say, which I didn't always, that mutual respect was there. So Jonathan Frid was an exceptional man. He was very funny and bigger than life and a great actor, both on stage and on the show Dark Shadows. Did I answer the whole question? Was there a little part at the end there? Oh, Kate Jackson. No, I never got to be on screen with Kate Jackson. If I remember correctly, Kate Jackson was on the show. I can't remember if it was before or after the Sarah storyline. I apologize, but not during my time on the show.
Okay, right on. Actually, it's really funny. So both Rick and Rick and Ron actually both said that they were living in Florida, which actually brings me to my news today. I, of course, good old Florida. We always get some of the best news out of them. This one's actually quite a short one, but it was really funny. The title on this one, of course, was Florida duo named dumbest thieves of the week. Which kind of brought to question is, do they actually have this must be such a regular reoccurrence over the Florida area that they have a weekly award for dumbest criminals. Two men in the Central Florida area earned the distinction of the dumbest thieves of the week. They had basically been robbing a series of stores through the Marion County area. And little did they realize while they were there, according to the investigators, Robert Hubby, 41, and Marcus Reeves, 23, went around Ocula and the surrounding area, breaking into stores, stealing cigarettes and lottery tickets. The two men theft had also left a few things behind while they were there, such as shoes and tools. Reeves, however, left behind his wallet and driver's license. The sheriffs, of course, went to their residence, asked questions. They admitted to doing it, and both of them have been.
I knew you were going to say wallet. I knew it.
Right. So of all the things that you drop, people don't bring your wallet. I mean, that's just as bad as the person who was robbing the pharmacy and had to give his ID for cigarettes moments before. So,
Well, I tell you, man, the wallet is becoming a little more extinct. Most people carry their phones and they put everything in their phones now.
Yeah.
And then I just read an article that our province is thinking about digitizing our driver's licenses. So that's one more thing, you know what I mean, that we won't need a wallet for.
It's true. Yeah.
So it's interesting because at least you leave a wallet, somebody has everything. You leave your phone, well, hopefully it could be passworded, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Right.
true.
So-
I mean, I will admit for probably the last 10 years, I have not been carrying a wallet. I just found that because I had a desk job, I was sitting on my wallet a lot and it caused a sciatic issue. And ever since then, I literally carry with me like my driver's license, a couple like a credit card and a bank card, and whatever junk is in my pocket at the time. So it's very rarely do I ever actually carry a lot of identification with me, and that probably will come back to bite me at some point if I'm ever.
It seems to me the whole stupid criminal thing. Was that the right title? Stupid criminal.
Dumbest criminals of the week. Yeah.
There are whole shows on this stuff. I mean, it's incredible the things that people try to do, from stealing, money access machines, ATMs. They back their truck up, wrap a chain around it or some such nonsense. And again, it reminds me of some ridiculous comedy I saw one time. I've just seen some crazy stuff on Facebook, and like I said, I think it could have whole shows on stupid criminal things.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, thank goodness for Florida, because they have brought a lot of hours of fantastic news towards us. We're really thankful for Florida, and I love going down to Florida. Actually, it's one of my favorite places to visit with my children. Of course, being they're young, and we love Disney World. So
I assure you, it's not limited to Florida, unfortunately.
It's true. So Rick, of course, thank you for thanking Sharon for her reply. It's always nice to
thank you, Rick.
And Robert, of course, is saying it was wonderful to see you again. One, of course, last question for Sharon from Rick. One last question, Sharon. Did you or do you ever hear London Bridge song playing around in your mind? Many of your scenes have been playing in the background.
I went to therapy for a very long time because of that song. No, I'm kidding. I went to therapy for other reasons. London Bridge, I've said this before, but it's very, very true. In the movie Jaws, you always knew when the big fish was coming because of that very specific music. Well, you always knew when little Sarah was about to come on because of London Bridge would play. I would be perfectly happy if I never heard that song again for the rest of my life, especially that dreary version that was used in Dark Shadows. It was very kind of macabre, But yeah, I've been tortured with that for years. Oh, please sing London Bridge. No, I'm done. Not gonna do
Tony, don't cue the music.
That's right. Don't do it.
We'll cut that out of the show. That's really funny, actually. It's good to see Ronnie had the exact same issue with his wallet at work. So that's really good. So Matty G, do you have another article? I do have another quick one. I know we normally limit things, but
yeah, no, I do.
Oh, fantastic.
This one's close to home. So hungover Toronto woman's McDonald's delivery orders 2 ketchup packets, goes viral. So
go on.
Yeah. She'll have a McDonald's hamburger, but hold the burger. A Toronto woman's bizarre fast food order is making the rounds on social media after she requested 1 hamburger, sans bun, with no mustard, onions, pickles, or beef patty. What she did want, though, was very specific, were 2 packets of Heinz ketchups in a takeout box. It was and apparently they had never seen anything like this before.
And they acted on this?
Well, I think so. I'll get deeper here.
Yeah. And the delivery charge for that?
I want to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The woman's husband posted a McDonald's receipt to Instagram. So we had a few drinks last night, and a McDonald's hamburger will surely cure the hangover. So that's what kind of the first post was, right? And then after that, she's like, Katie's the type of person who will make modifications to a classic. No pickles, no onions. So this is what she ordered. And then she went on and it's just like no anything. And they literally Uber Eats delivered them 2 ketchup packets. and,
That's an expensive joke.
yeah, it was like a $10 delivery charge for 2 ketchup packets.
You know, you can go buy multiple bottles of ketchup for the cost.
Thank you.
Right?
My God, that stuff like that just drives me bonkers. You know,
It's kind of a waste of people's time and effort. Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like there's no respect for the delivery driver when they're driving 2
Exactly.
packets of ketchup. So, by the way, thank you very much. Your friend Paul, of course, from Boston, is there saying hi, Sharon.
Thank you, Paul.
That's absolutely insane. I cannot believe the audacity of some people. So I guess you know what, if you have the money and they have the time, then they're making probably a good profit on those 2 packets of ketchup.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's something else. So
did you have one?
Yes, I do have one more. Sorry, I just noticed that Paul was saying he's hearing too many voices at once here. So wow, we're all laughing and having a good time, of course. Yeah. I do have one more. This one is I will put the photograph up on our Facebook page later this evening, but the title on this one is "Woman's Photo Goes Viral After Friends Spot an Unfortunate Reflection in the Mirror." And I'm going to break this down super quick, but basically Connie, a young woman from I think it was Scotland, Falkirk, Scotland, had posed wearing a beautiful red dress and she was standing basically in front of the mirror, but the way the mirror was tilted is it showed her ankle and leg that kind of came right down between the middle of the dress and made her look like she had an enormous penis hanging from between her legs and her dress. And she had posted it up on Instagram, and of course it went viral, and she got something like 20,000 views in no time. In which case she took that, and I think what got me the most about this article, which I really loved, was that she then posted on Facebook saying, "I can't believe I posted this without noticing. Clearly this looks like I have something that should not be there." And then she got a lot of fantastic praise for people saying, you know what, most women would shy away or be too embarrassed to say something, and you just owned it and went with it, and you have such a great sense of humor. So I give her a lot of props out there. You know, it is clearly she wanted people to see this wonderful dress, and they got to see a lot more thanks to a very poor tilt of a mirror. So good for her. I mean, you know, I don't know how I would react to something if it made it look like, well, something was showing that shouldn't be showing. So this is exactly why my wife won't let me wear pants until they dissolve off my body. So.
Or take pictures.
Just for reasons like that. So
yes, I'm surprised that you're not adding to that with this morning's news that I read on Facebook, where a gentleman who I won't bring up his name right now, it's not my place, was on a Zoom call and thought that his Zoom conference and thought that his camera and his or his video and his audio were off, and they weren't. And they caught some stuff that they shouldn't have. And the poor man, I really feel bad for him, because he's going to lose his job over it, and he's a big time guy, and it's a shame. But please be careful, people. Word to the wise, PSA. Don't just think your camera is off.
Yeah, if you've got that little filter or the shutter that goes over your camera, make sure it's on for all our sakes. You know, it's actually funny, since this whole COVID thing, there are more and more articles pouring out about people's mishaps, or I don't know if it's a question of people just getting too relaxed, or if it is just carelessness because people are at home sitting around in their underpants all day long while they're doing their work.
I never wear pants. My laptop just sits on the desk closed with a blanket over it.
You're just trying to get more followers.
Yeah, no, you know, Maddie, everybody knows about your penchant for sweatpants. So he just looks at them. He just doesn't wear them all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I have indoor sweatpants and I have going out sweatpants.
Yeah, which honestly should never exist. There's no such
they're fancy.
No, that is
fancy sweatpants.
Yeah, that's called end of life pants that you no longer have any self-respect.
Hey man, they're signed by MC Hammer.
And how exactly low do people have to get to see that signature? Oh,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
goodness. Yeah. Paul says that he, of course, looks forward to the event on the 9th for Halloween night, the DS cast. So I guess you've got something special maybe that you want to talk about a little
Well,
later.
actually, there is going to be a YouTube panel of the Dark Shadows actors and actresses on Halloween night at 9 p.m. It is a big deal to have.
That's right.
I think there's about 12 of us that are going to be there together. We haven't really been together since the 50th, which was a couple years ago now.
Wow.
So the fans are very excited about that.
That'll be
and they'll be able to, I believe they'll be able to ask questions kind of the same way you are right now.
Great.
Or even beforehand. I think somebody said that they were taking, Ansel was taking questions beforehand for specific actors and actresses.
That's amazing. Now, before we get to our next question, I do want to ask you, how did you feel, or did you get a chance to see the Tim Burton's remake of Dark Shadows?
I did.
I thought you might have, and I'm curious. What's your opinion on that
I
one?
went to see the movie. Now you have to understand, within the family of Dark Shadows, this was online being talked about, and a lot ahead of time. They knew it was coming. There was much anticipation, and there are, I'm not sure what the right word, but purists within the Dark Shadows fandom, and then fans who are more open. And I tend to be the one that's more, one of the ones that's more open. But when it came to having an opinion about this movie, I withheld mine until the movie came out, and I went to see it to form my own opinion, because that's who I am. Okay. You may like it, I may not, yada, yada. So I need to have my own opinion before I open my mouth. And I went to see the movie with my husband, and great anticipation. There was big money involved in this, big names involved in this. I wanted the best for the franchise.
Yeah.
And I watched the movie, and there were several times during the movie that I cringed. It was like, and I rolled my eyes, and I was like, really? But try to be open-minded and watch the whole movie. And when it was all over, I kind of looked at my husband and I was like, so where do you want to go for dinner?
Yeah.
Suffice to say that afterwards, a lot of people within the fandom were at loggerheads about this, butting heads constantly about whether it was a good thing or it was a bad thing, whatever. I can only speak for myself, and myself will stick with the original Dark Shadows always.
Yes.
That's the short version.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It's always really tough with remakes, and sometimes you're of the opinion that it's nice that it happens, because sometimes it will respawn new interest in the old versions, and other times it doesn't go down well at all, and people are very shy to look at it. And
absolutely, but
sometimes
you are
it's a
right.
piece of shit, and it boosts your old movie.
But to be honest with you, I was just going to reiterate that it did, in fact, bring people to the original Dark Shadows. A lot of young people, because they saw this because of Tim Burton and all that stuff, and they were like, wait, this is based on something else. Let me check that out. And I'm talking college kids, 20-somethings, and even though the original Dark Shadows was made in the 60s, so of course, right away, the technology was much more rudimentary than it is now, and there was no CGI, et cetera, et cetera. But they got sucked into the gothicness of it, to the romance of it, and you almost can't help it. I know all the flaws. Believe me, it's been rehashed a million times. You watch 3 episodes, you're coming back.
Yeah.
And the beauty is, we used to watch, or the original fans used to have to wait to the next day, or heaven forbid, Friday to Monday, talk about cliffhanger, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Now you can binge watch it.
Yeah.
You can watch 5 episodes at a time and keep continuity, which is great. But yeah, I tell everybody, if you haven't seen it and you go, oh, it's from the 60s, who cares? Watch 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you can't help yourself. You're like, and then, and then,
Yeah, it's really good, and it's funny that you'd mentioned that about it being, not as high in the, I guess the cinematography production. I guess when you
Mhm,
think about it, because of the time period, it didn't have all the special effects and CGI of things,
mhm,
but the storyline was there, and I think
mhm.
that's where a lot of the new shows and new movies that they've forgotten that it's truly a story that will keep people coming back for more. And yes, you can dump as much money you want into special effects, but if the story's not there, it's just garbage and it's really hard. So it's true. There's a lot of today's shows that can take a lot of tidbits of information and pointers from a
Mhm.
lot of the older ones. And
And exactly what you're saying within the movie. Talk about CGI and throwing money at it. They used every CGI trick in the book in that movie, way more than they probably needed to,
yeah,
and yet didn't flesh out characters. You
yeah,
did not feel any intimacy with the characters. They
hmm,
just, you know,
yeah,
whereas with the original Dark Shadows, people got hooked into certain characters. To this day, they'll say, "Oh gosh, I really felt for so and so," or "I could so put myself in that place," or "I wish I was in that place."
yes, yeah,
Whole nother feel,
yeah.
whole nother feel.
And it's actually really funny because I was watching a show with my youngest, and there's a cartoon out there. I think it was The Loud House. One of the characters actually they do this tip of the hat to Dark Shadows all the time.
Oh really?
And she's a very goth little girl in the whole family of the house, and she loves this vampire character that she carries, of course, the statue, which is based off the main character from Dark Shadows, which is really really funny. And I don't think a lot of people would see that, but it's great because they've made these shows for children where parents now can sit and people who have seen these older things can have a really good laugh and see
And I'm sorry, what's the name of that show?
the Loud House.
The Loud House.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about one brother, and I think he's got something like 12 sisters. And he's like the only one in the house that of course has these adventures, but every one of the sisters have their own little characteristic. And one's sporty, one's posh, one's all these things, and one of course is goth. And she always loves this.
I've met quite a few writer, directors, producers of independent films over the years who I can't say grew up on Dark Shadows because they're younger, but
Mhm.
they were introduced to the original Dark Shadows, fell in love with it. Now that they are writer, directors, producers, they are throwing, what do they call them, jelly beans or Easter eggs or
Correct.
something
Yeah.
like that
Mhm.
into their productions.
Yeah.
And they'll say they'll direct it towards the Dark Shadows fan audience, and
Mhm.
because they know they're going to pick it out. Oh my gosh, there's the cane. Oh my gosh, there's the ring.
Yeah.
I'm currently involved in a production. Oh, I can't say that.
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
I
what
was going to
can
tell
I
you
say?
something, but I
Mhm.
can't say that.
Yep.
um yeah, never mind.
Let's keep our eyes
but
open for what's happening in the world. Yep.
but yeah, right. What's
Yeah.
that? But
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful thing because they are taking those things from Dark Shadows and throwing them in there for the fans, but also as an enticement for new fans. And I
Yeah.
think that's very cool.
Yeah. Very smart marketing, which is
Horror movies that actually do a really great job of the Easter egg thing I found is the Conjuring series. We were just
Hmm.
talking about this the other day, and we were watching the new Annabelle about the doll
Okay.
that
Yeah.
basically is a conduit for spirits. And the little things, like you see this little, it's just a split second, and you see something that's from another one of the movies that you've previously watched, or there's some foreshadowing, and they do it really. We didn't realize how good of a job they actually do
Hmm.
with planting those things, and it gets you pretty pumped up because you're like, it's just
You
interesting how the
recognize
world is
something.
bigger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. We do have another question here from Vondelay Brown. How are you chosen to be the part of Sarah Collins?
Um, as I said before, I was doing auditions for commercials and modeling and voiceovers, and this was an audition that my agent set up, and I had really no idea except that it was called Dark Shadows. It was a soap opera and it was a little girl. That's all. The first audition I went to, there was a whole lot of little girls in the room of all various looks. And at the time, I had dark hair, braids, freckles, very 60s looking all American girl. And I was kind of small for my age. I went to that audition, no big deal. And I got a call to come back again. They call callback. And I went to that second audition. And I believe there was a third audition. And that audition, there was only two little girls, myself and another little girl. And I happened to know her. Her name was Eileen Burrell. And she was blonde, very thin in the face, big eyes. She had actually played a ghost in another show. So by that time, I knew it was for a ghost. I didn't know storyline. I didn't know characters, that kind of thing. I just knew that much. And even at 9 years old, I was well aware of what was going on around me. And I assumed that she would get the role because she was very ghost-like. And that didn't bother me at all because there was always more work at the time. You just move on to the next thing. Much to my surprise, the next phone call we got was to come in for a fitting. They wanted to do a screen test in costume. Well, I already had the job at that point, and it was a big surprise to Mom and I. I was like, "Oh, really?" And I've said this before, but it bears repeating for a new audience. I believe in retrospect that the reason that I got the job over Eileen was because I bore more of a family resemblance to the lead character, Barnabas. I almost said Barnabas Frid, Jonathan Frid, who played Barnabas Collins in the show. And that side of the family was darker. And I really believe that that's probably the only reason why I got the part.
You just had the right look. Yeah. That's good. Now, just because you did bring it up, and I'm sure, Maddie, you have a question, but I want to touch base on it quickly. You were shooting a commercial at the time. Was this the cereal commercial that you were shooting?
Which one? Post Sugar Bear? Post Sugar Crisp. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so amazing how many actors and actresses start off with cereal commercials.
Oh heavens, yeah.
Even Keanu Reeves himself was a cornflakes man. So
David Hennessy, who played David Collins on Dark Shadows, also did a cereal commercial. But I think it was Rice Krispies. I'm not sure, but I think it was. But I remember at the time I did Pepto-Bismol. I did a soup. I think it was Campbell's soup. It may have been a different soup. I did soup and Kodak and, all of those popular things at the time. There was a lot of that going around then.
yeah. It's.
But yeah, I don't think I was doing. In fact, I know I wasn't doing that cereal commercial at that time because that was my very first commercial. And I was a little girl. I was only, if you ever get an opportunity to watch it online, which you can.
Beautiful of the internet, yeah.
I was about 5 or 6 years old. And oh my God, I'm just the cutest little thing. I look at it now like I'm like the grandma, and I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, she's so cute. But
Wait,
that
me.
commercial,
What? Wait, that's me.
I know, right? It's like home movies.
Yeah.
But that commercial would never float in 2020.
In today's.
It's high sugar. And they promote that, and it's cops and robbers running around, clubbing people over the head, and things are breaking. It's a big bank robbery, and it's insane. It's insanity.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't float in today's market.
True.
But it was fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really funny. I was watching. One of the things I'd like to talk to you, and I'll get to that in a second. I was watching an old cartoon with my kids to try to find something that was suitable for everybody for Halloween, which of course is tough when you've got a young child and a kind of a middle-aged child, and of course parents. So we went back to the classic Jim Davis old Garfield Halloween cartoon, and as we're watching this, we realized, you know, he says things that wouldn't float nowadays, even as a cartoon, like kids back then didn't realize, but you know, today it wouldn't be acceptable. And of course, it was completely sponsored by McDonald's. So every commercial throughout it, which of course played online, were the old McDonald's commercials with the McNugget buddies and the Happy Meal gang and all that kind of stuff. And it was really funny because it blew my kids' mind. They're like, "What is this? And why are there so many commercials?"
Daddy, why is this sponsored by McDonald's and racism?
That's right.
Yeah, so it was really strange to, of course, that I'm thinking back and I was like, wow, that's right. There really were a lot of commercials that really weren't probably considered appropriate nowadays, and definitely the programming between either getting bonked in the head or being said, "Oh, stop that, you dummy," or something. You just kids aren't really allowed to say that kind of thing. And
Absolutely.
you know, so I'm amazed that kids aren't as maybe nice as they should be, considering how they've been sheltered from cartoons and stuff like that, or even just
And they wonder why so many people from my generation are in therapy.
right.
Don't worry, we're all in therapy
I
too.
was gonna say we're all there now. So it was a slippery slope.
Well, Tony, I made a note. Sharon gave us a tip there, so we just got to get a cereal sponsor, and then we'll go straight to the big time.
There we go. There we go.
Good luck with that.
Right, exactly. Kellogg's, if you're listening. Yeah, so they're right around the corner. They're not that far away from us, so you never know.
Really?
Yep. So let's talk quickly about, I know we really want to ask you some questions for everybody, but let's talk quickly about Halloween traditions. What is your Halloween tradition?
I love Halloween. Not because of Dark Shadows, I don't think, but I do love Halloween. Halloween has always given me the opportunity to let my alter ego, I guess that's right, my alter ego blossom. And I love to get dressed up. Maybe not as much anymore now that I'm older, but always dressed up. I love to dress my kids up. We dressed up as a family. We had a theme every year. My husband used to hate it, but he would go along with me. You know, now he loves looking at the pictures, and he's like, "I'm glad you made me do that." You know.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
When I first moved into this house, this particular house 6 years ago, I have a screened-in porch. Well, one of the things that was in my head when we were looking at the house was, oh my gosh, I could totally decorate this whole thing like a haunted house.
Yeah.
Just the screened-in porch was perfect because I wouldn't have to worry about anybody messing with it. It would be enclosed, but not, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love Halloween. Unfortunately, this year I feel great trepidation about how we're going to proceed in the name of caution. Yeah. But in years past, totally into it.
They just issued a formal statement for our province that they're advising that people don't go out and trick or treat this year. So they're not banning it or saying that you can't, but they're just strongly advising. So have you guys seen all these pulley systems and stuff that people have rigged up for candy delivery?
The chute. Yeah. Send it down the chute.
Yep. Yeah.
I love it.
Is the beer one, but beer for the parents and candy for the kids. It's really fun. Steve, of course, says, "Hey, it's very tough for us, especially like I said, because one of my children are very, very young. I'm trying to not ruin the spirit of Halloween for them, but maybe possibly starting a slightly newer tradition where maybe we will go and find a nice meal or have a nice meal, go get the kids whatever candy they want, and just let them just sit and binge on candy and watch maybe Halloween movies or something, and spend it as family time. And I know it's really tough, especially if there are a few kids going door to door, because then of course she's going to be want to be one of those kids that are out there. But it's really tough, and with the kids going back to school here, and so many of the kids already have come back with colds. Both my kids have come back with colds in such a short period of time of being back in school. It just makes you realize that it's how dangerous it still can be, and how easily this can spread. So
well, this year, I don't know if it was the same for you, Tone, but they told us that the kids couldn't wear their costumes to school this year because of all the accessories. So they touch the accessories, they leave it behind. You know what I mean? And so you get that cross
It's
continue.
not quite a costume without it, right? Like it's all about the accessories. So.
No. So I was like, I have 2 boys, so we got them Mario and Luigi. But so we're just gonna dress up ourselves on Halloween and hang out. So
that's cool. Yeah,
It's a shame. It's so hard. It's hard enough for us as adults to deal with and to navigate. It just seems so much harder to try to explain that to young children. In the first 3 months of the epidemic, I stayed inside. Absolutely, 100% did not leave the house. As time has passed, with caution, I've tried to be as normal as possible, with great limitations. Well, what saddens me is when I go into a store, grocery store, and I see a mom with 3 little kids and they have masks on.
Mm-hmm.
I know I had 2 little kids at one time. I was in that spot. I couldn't imagine trying to keep the kids' hands to themselves, masks on, and not constantly be on their case. Like it's hard enough. Please don't touch that. Get your mouth off of that. Yeah, under the best of circumstances.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart that they even have to deal with this. But God bless the moms for taking the proper precautions.
Yeah.
But I just walk by and I shake my head and it's shoot up a prayer for them because, I wouldn't want to be there right now.
Yeah, for sure. Maddie G, how about we take this opportunity to jump into the second half of our show, and we're going to ask Sharon some fun questions. And, Yep. And Sharon, you
be nice to me.
We call this segment slightly slower than average rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm slightly slower than average. So I should be okay.
This is a perfect time to let everybody know that we are technically labeled as explicit, so you don't have to worry about minding your P's and Q's. Although we do occasionally curb things as much as we possible, but you are given free reign on these questions.
All right, here we go. Ready?
I guess so.
No one's ever ready.
I didn't sign anything.
Question 1. What made-up word would you register into the English language?
Well, let's see. Funkadelic already is a word.
Good one, though.
Oh, my goodness. Funnelicious.
I like it.
All right.
Is that a word?
It should be. What's the scariest dream that you can remember?
Oh, my goodness. That's an easy one. I have it all the time. Well, I have 2, actually. It's scary for me. I have a dream that I'm on the 2nd floor of my home. Someone comes to the door and rings the doorbell, and I'm in a hurry to answer the door. And I get to the top of the steps, and in that moment, I say to myself, if I leaped off, and there's like 12 steps, if I leaped off, I could get to the door so much faster. But if I do that, I may get hurt. And I'm talking in a split second, and I make the decision to leap off the step, and I wake up every time. And it scares me.
Yeah. That would startle me awake.
But I have that dream all the time.
I'm going to slightly sideline this. If you've ever watched it or if you've ever caught it, there is a dog that does that. In real life, he kind of wanders up to the steps and he looks at it and then runs back and then takes the leap and literally clears like 13 of the 14 stairs and then plows into the last stair.
Oh, poor baby.
So, I was gonna say it might be one of those dreams that don't ever try it. Don't make the leap.
Yeah. Don't leap 12 stairs.
Yep.
It's never good. Exactly. What superpower do you wish you had?
Oh, there's so many. Is having a high metabolism a superpower?
No, but that'd be a good one.
To have a high metabolism. Superpower. I would love to. Oh my goodness, I'm slower than average, aren't I? Superpower. Oh. I would love to have those X-ray glasses. With the swirls in them.
Yeah, be able to see through things. That's cool. Hey, X-ray vision's a good one. I like it.
Oh, baby.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, really.
Oh, it's a lot smaller than I thought.
Yeah.
Isn't that cute?
What's your earliest childhood memory?
Oh, it's not a good one. I grew up in a row home, and on the second floor there was a chair in front of the window in one of the smaller bedrooms, and oh my goodness, I must have been like 3 or 4, and it had these little screens that you pushed in the button and then you pushed up the screen, and we were on the second floor, and I remember trying to open the screen. Now, why did I want to do that? I don't know, but my guardian angel slammed that screen down on my fingers, and I never tried it again. And I also did not tell my mother what I tried to do. And that has stuck with me. I'm 62 years old, almost 63, and that has stuck with me all these many years.
That particular.
On those days where it gets cold or rainy and you still feel the pain in the fingers. So
I know, right? Ooh,
exactly.
Mommy told me not to do that.
Yep, 100%.
What activity makes you the happiest?
Oh God. Right now, being with my dogs makes me the happiest, because it's a tough world out there, and my dogs expect very little from me, and they give lots and lots and lots back. I was never a dog person. I did not know that was going to happen until 3 years ago when I got my first one. Now I have 3. Second to that would be being with my children and knowing that they're happy and healthy.
Excellent.
That just makes my heart swell.
Good. Family's important.
What? Yes, very. What foreign language would you most like to learn?
Spanish.
Yeah. Any particular reason?
Well, first off, I have a grandson that speaks Spanish. His father is from Puerto Rico, and I always found it very hard to communicate. I tried to learn Spanish, and I'm just not a person that learns languages easily. But also I think that it's prevalent, and I think that it would help me to communicate with a lot more people if I knew Spanish. I also would love to learn sign language, which I have attempted on several occasions, for the same reason. I used to work in retail, and about the most that I got was thank you and please. But it's important. It's important. The more people that you can communicate well with. So
I was able to tell someone how to get to an airport using sign language, and I was very into it and took a few years of it. But it's one of those things that if you don't have someone to converse with regularly, you lose it.
Tony, you can't just write the word airport on a piece of paper and point to it, and that's giving someone's directions to the airport.
No, legit way.
I used to sit in the sanctuary at church and watch the interpreter when they were singing praise songs, and I would almost completely forget about the service. I would be so busy watching her. Her name was Priscilla, and I didn't know the woman, but after many, 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 many Sundays of watching her, I ran up to her one day after service and spontaneously gave her a big hug and told her how much I loved her. And she looked at me and she went, "Thanks." It took a little while to explain to her where all my enthusiasm was coming from.
That's funny.
That's great. That's great.
If you could relive a decade, which would you choose?
A whole decade?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I really messed up early on, so I don't want to go back there. I would say, a decade in my mid 30s to mid 40s, believe it or not, because I had my first child at 34 years old. And that time period, like their first 10, 15 years, oh my God, I would live that over. Well, maybe not to 15, to 13. I would live that over again.
Before the teen drama kicks in.
Yeah. It's like the morning they turn 13 years old, they change.
Yeah.
They can be like the easiest, bestest child, and it's like flipping a switch. I don't know.
Nice.
But babies, yes, I would really live that decade for sure.
Very cool. Do you believe in aliens?
I believe in a spirit world. Do I think they come from another planet? Not that way. No, I believe that there's a spirit world. That could be a whole show by itself. So yeah,
Okay.
in that way, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
How would you spend $100 million?
$100 million?
Mhm.
I don't think you could spend $100 million. I would take $100 million. That's a lot of money. I would take. I'm just going to throw it out there. 3/4 of it and invest it, because let it make money. Let it make. I know it sounds crazy, but let it make money, because the more you can do with it. And I obviously would take care of me and my family first, as far as being set for life, and then I would be very altruistic with it. I would, yeah, feed people, educate people, hire other people to do that, because that's how it works. You do one thing, it has a ripple effect. That person touches another person's life. And yes, unfortunately, money is what drives that. So yeah, obviously, I take care of people and their bills and their homes. But after that, it'd be all about spreading it around, pushing it out there, having it make more money, for sure. Oh, 100 million. My goodness, I can't even wrap my head around that. That's
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot. I would just say lavishly.
Yeah.
And
lavishly?
see, I don't want to live lavishly. I'm not impressed by that.
For me, it'd be like everybody I knew, and just give it to people that need it. And like, you could travel to a place or a third world country and be like, I'm gonna go on vacation here, and I'm gonna help who's around me when I'm there.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just go to bars and be like, drinks on me everywhere. You'd be the coolest guy.
So you
or
just
girl.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
See, that's how you can tell that I'm double your age or more, because those days are behind me. No judgment. Just
oh no, it's cool. That's cool.
Yep.
What's your biggest pet peeve? What gets on your nerves?
Oh my God, I have a list of pet peeves that you would not believe. One of the first ones that come, I really do. One of the first things that come to mind, because it just happened to me. When you're in a store and you're looking at something, and I travel on the right. In Canada, do they drive on the right?
Yep.
I always travel on the right with my cart. Okay.
Yep.
Even if I'm looking at something on the other side of the aisle. When I stop to do that, and someone walks right in front of me and stops, it's all I can do not to say anything. And I try really hard, because there's nothing to be gained by that. But hello? Am I invisible?
I totally get that one.
I am so glad I am not the only one. I drive my cart like I drive my car.
Thank you.
Right? If you cross in front of me, it makes me want to internally. I rage out. I want to walk up and kick their cart over. I want to say something, and I realize you can't, and you just gotta hold that rage in. But
inside my head, I'm going, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Yes. 100%.
Tony even glues lights to his ass so he can signal.
Right? Yeah. I look around. I do the
left.
I make 100%.
I'm with you.
Yep.
All right. What do you do when you can't fall asleep?
Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, you are. On this show, you are.
You're gonna make me blush.
Depending on what your answer is, we got a few people that.
What do I do when I can't fall asleep?
Yeah.
I usually get up, because it's pointless. The more I think about the fact that I can't sleep, the higher my anxiety, the worse it gets. It's better for me just to get up, go read something, whatever, and come back and try it again, 20 minutes later.
Okay. What's the best thing you've ever eaten?
I wish this wasn't live. Lobster when I was in Maine.
Okay. Yeah.
That's actually that's the second time we've had Maine lobster, actually.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was in Maine doing an independent film with a friend of mine, and I had never had lobster in the lobster. Like when they come and they put it on your plate.
Yep.
Well, I'm in Maine. Hello,
Much
you
better
know,
experience.
and the owner of the restaurant heard the story. I guess somebody told him. I don't know. He came over to my table. I had two beautiful lobsters sitting on my platter, and he said to me, "May I?" He was very proper. He said, "May I?" And I said, "Have at it." And he took one of the lobsters and showed me piece by piece how to properly take it from its shell.
Liberate it.
Liberate. Thank
Liberate
you.
it.
Thank you. I almost said alleviate, but yes, liberate from its shell.
Yep.
And I never laughed so hard in all my life. It was wonderful. And so then obviously I have at it with the second one, and it was delicious.
Nice.
Don't ever let anybody tell you that lobster doesn't taste like anything, because when done right in Maine, it does.
I'm a seafood guy, so Tony hates it, but I love it. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. I've had bad experiences, though. I'm slowly getting to enjoy some things. Lobster was one of them, actually. I did lobsters and shrimp. I seem to be able to get through a little bit of it, but
Good.
Yeah, we're getting
Good.
there.
Good.
Yeah.
And the last question for you. What is your favorite podcast that you've been on in the last 12 hours?
Oh, I know this one. The freaking awesome podcast.
That's great.
Super. Now, before we do ramp up, we had a couple more quick questions here from our listeners / viewers. Ronnie Lee, how long did you play the part of Sarah? Years, months?
Less than a year. It was between 67 and 68. I went from 9 to 10 during the time, but yeah, less than a year for sure.
Okay.
8 months maybe. But the storyline that I was a part of was very impactful. So to some people it seemed like more.
Yes, it was the best months. Yes.
Absolutely.
Rick Gardner says, Sharon, are you or your husband related to Mel Lentz, the world famous lumberjack?
No. And I'm unfamiliar with
As am I,
that.
Rick. I'm only familiar with Paul Bunyan. Is the only lumberjack that I'm aware of. So
nope, sorry, no relation.
Okay. Janice came in a little bit late, said it might be a bit of a repeat. It is. She wanted to know what it was like working with Jonathan Freed. You did mention that it was a fantastic moment. So Janice, this is live, but it will re-record. So if anything that you've missed, please come back and watch when this is done recording. You can watch it at any point and rewatch all of this. And of course, it will be available to our listeners that are on the road, audio-wise, in about a week's time. And we got Barry saying, so great to see Sharon again. Thanks so much for doing this. You're so welcome. And we are, of course, out of time, but we wanted to say thank you, Sharon, so much for being on the show. We are so happy that you're able to join us for our celebration of all things spooky and dark in the recesses of life, and including the wonderful shows such as Dark Shadows. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we would love to connect with you again at some point and have you back on the show to talk more about the wonderful things that you've done.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And don't forget to visit my Facebook page, Sharon Lentz, Lentz.
Yes. And I want to also see, before you go, do you have, I believe you do, there's a few things I've seen you posting about some other projects or things, maybe charities or something that you're passionate about that you'd like to mention out to our listeners / viewers?
Absolutely. I am involved in an independent film right now. Actually, we'll be filming this weekend. It's called Brazen Impact, and it's by Absurd Productions. You might want to look that up on Facebook. And aside from that kind of thing, I am very much involved in the African American Museum of Bucks County. I'm on the board there, and we just acquired a building so that we can have a brick and mortar museum. For the last 6 years, we've been a traveling museum. Please come to our Facebook page for all kinds of updates and ways that you can help. It's African American Museum of Bucks County. Thank you for letting me say that, because that is very important to me.
That's absolutely wonderful, and we're very, very happy to be able to share that out. For our listeners, of course, who are on the road and only listening to this from the audio point of view, please jump over to our website. We'll make sure that we post Sharon Lentz's profile up under our guest page, including her social medias, and of course, the projects that she likes and loves and that she's working on to help support different charities. So we'll make sure that that is recorded for everybody to get actively involved or to be able to get in touch with Sharon and ask questions themselves. Well, wonderful. Thank you very, very much. Sorry, Frank, we don't really have chance to ask this one more question, but maybe. Oh, you know what? Fine, that's all. That'll squeeze in, but we can't do anymore. If perhaps there's a Dark Shadows reboot and they're going to a timeline where Sarah didn't die, but grew up into an adult, would you consider doing the part?
I want to say yes, but I'm far too old for that. Best left to the professionals.
Okay.
But thanks for thinking of me.
There's always an amazing thing about timeline and time travel and things that they've done in the past to maybe they'll do something about foreshadowing the future. That is a fantastic question, actually. That's why I wanted to get that out. Thank you very much, Frank. Everybody else, unfortunately, if we didn't get a chance to say your question or post up to Sharon, we do appreciate you being on the show and listening, and hopefully you can come back at another time when we have Sharon visit us once more time. Thank you again, Sharon. I super appreciate all your time.
Thank you.
We do look forward to having you again. Thanks. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.